Welcome back to Roll with the Troll, everybody. Hey, today we're talking about Halloween Ends. Once again, the audience storms out. Listen, everybody is saying that we are going to be shocked and maybe disappointed by this fucking movie.
That is the word on the street.
It's the scuttlebutt. Is that what people say?
Yes,
Scuttlebutt?
that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Look, I expected this from Jamie Lee Curtis because she never really has anything positive to say in this franchise. She's always very serious, very stern, very well. I feel that people will be shocked, and I feel that some of the hardcore fans might not like it. I'm not surprised at it coming from her, but supposedly even like David Gordon Green is saying this. Supposedly some of the co-stars, are saying this kind of thing.
They're very down on it.
Yeah, they're even saying they're not like saying it's a bad movie. They're saying that
Yeah.
we, the audience, won't like it, right? Even like the key grips and shit at this point. Like
Yeah.
anyone who ever delivered something to the set is like, oh man, you're not going to like this movie. So I wonder if that's just an insult to us. Like if what they're really saying is, you dumb dirtbag horror movie fanatics, you're not going to like this intelligent, artistic thing that we're doing. Like what Star Wars did to us and Disney.
I was just going to say, it wouldn't be the first time that producers and directors have gotten the audience all wrong, so who knows?
Well, they're not just wrong. What I'm saying is with Star Wars, when they did that shit Disney trilogy, they were saying that anyone who didn't like it was, sexist, misogynist, racist.
Yeah.
I mean, they came up with everything other than maybe it's not a good movie, right?
Right.
Maybe
yeah.
those films just blew ass.
It couldn't be that.
I know. Like the fact that we thought it was odd that Luke Skywalker just wasn't on board with doing anything heroic at all. He's like,
just
no.
toss his lightsaber over his shoulder.
He called it a laser sword and everything.
Yeah.
Like that we were assholes for not getting it. Meanwhile, I'm like, did you fucking see the first few movies? I mean, this is not Luke at all.
They wanted us to not notice the disrespect.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so I kind of think it's the same thing with Halloween Ends in a way. I'm sort of getting the vibe that when they say it's going to shock people and that we're not going to like the ending, I don't necessarily know that they're saying it's an ending that isn't good. I think they're saying it's a little too maybe artsy or too brave or too...
It's going to be out there somehow.
Going against the grain, right? And so therefore they're just saying, you guys are too fucking stupid to get it. Maybe that's what they're saying. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know what to think because, again, I've been pretty vocal that I wasn't thrilled about the 2018 film. Thought it was good. I didn't love it. It stole a lot of beats from other movies. There were just things about it that, like that British guy that he was like doing the podcast or some shit or whatever he was doing on Michael. That they killed him off. They didn't do much with him. I just remember not loving the 2018 movie. Kills is phenomenal. Kills, I think, is way better. I don't even put them in the same conversation. Kills is just an intense movie that really has it's creative. It's different.
Much more story.
I thought way more.
Yeah.
And most people thought the opposite. They thought Kills was just a mad slasher.
Oh.
And that the first one was more of a story.
No,
to me, the first one was H2O just redone. It was very similar to H2O. In fact, it steals little beats from almost every Halloween movie and just puts them all together and says, there you
go.
Right? That really, it's almost like a best of. It'd be like if you went and bought, you know what I'm saying? Like if you heard that your favorite band put out a new album.
Yeah.
And then you went and got it and you're like, the new record, and it's all old songs. It's just a best of compilation. You'd be pissed, right? That's not a new album. That's just a compilation. That was kind of what I thought the 2018 film was to a degree. The ending was cool. I thought once they got to her house, it was better. But anyway, so the belief here is the audience going to go storming out? Like, are people going to be pissed? Are we going to be calling this the hugest disappointment since, I don't know, like 2 or 3 movies ago? Because like if you look back at the Halloween history, there's been a lot of storming out and people being pissed. A lot of people didn't even like Halloween 2. Really, way back then. You want to go back to the 70s. There were people who really didn't like Halloween 2. I think part of that was because Laurie Strode's character was almost a side character in a lot of the movie. She wasn't really as central. Even then, Jamie Lee Curtis didn't want to do the film. Even back, that's how long this goes on. She has spent 3/4 of her life or more saying, no, I don't want to do that Halloween sequel. And then, okay, I guess I'll do the Halloween sequel.
Yeah.
Seriously, this has been her story for 50 years now.
Trying to distance herself, and then she gets sucked back in.
Yeah, every single time. I mean, since she was a kid. She was a fucking child. This has been going on. God, when she said okay, finally, to Halloween 2, when she's like, fine, put me in the movie, we'll do a wig, we'll do it. if someone had pulled her aside and said, listen, this is going to be going on for decades and decades, you and Halloween doing this dance, she would have said, no fucking way would I let that happen. Here we are. She's in her 60s and she's like, I think I'm done after this. And I'm telling you, she's not. She'll be back for more Halloween films later. They're going to resurrect.
Think so?
Yeah, I do. I'm not kidding at all. I think when she's 80, I think they're going to reboot. And once again, they're going to have her do some sort of cameo, maybe not a major role at age 80, but I believe by then they will still work her ass into the story again, where she was stalked by Michael and blah, blah, blah. And I could just see it. I could just see her telling some new character, go get him, kill him for me. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Because she always says that she's done, and she's never done.
Yeah.
Always.
Wouldn't it be funny if you mentioned this in the last Halloween video, I think it was, that we did about her being in her 80s and then pulling her back into the franchise. Wouldn't it be hysterical if her last installment, some 20 years from now when she's in her 80s, the whole thing is like every Halloween movie was actually a dream. It was an ongoing dream that Laurie Strode was having. It kind of like pulls in flavors of Freddy and
I'm into that. I'm into anything at this point because they've done so many different stories, especially with the what the fuck's his name? Rob Zombie versions, where he did a couple films in his own universe. That was different. That was a very weird reimagining. There's been so many different takes on it all that sure, why not? I think you could do that.
Yeah. I'll let Dallas,
So let's look at the different things. Like, what are they thinking we're going to be so mad about? Because the way I see it, this film ends one of three ways. All right? Like, tell me what you think, guys. Either Michael kills everyone. He's the last man standing. I forget who said that in the comments. Someone said Michael needs to be the last man standing, and that's it. And in so many ways, I agree. I feel like that's a dark, cool ending. But then if you do that, then you don't reboot right after, right? If Michael's the last man standing, fuck it. Just more films.
That's kind of what I've been picturing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That he finally just kills all of them and moves on?
He kills everybody, decimates Haddonfield. Haddonfield itself is kind of like a character,
It is. But then
I could see him being the last one. Everyone else, is gone. I don't know.
But then if they don't reboot, if they keep that ending and then don't reboot, some people keep saying in the comments, like, well, then he's like, you're going to have Michael in his 60s. Now, I say it doesn't fucking matter, really, because he's supernatural. Right. Yoda's 900. Exactly. We don't care. Chewbacca's 600. It doesn't matter if you're supernatural.
Ageism.
If anything, that adds to the allure in a way, because now when they do future movies, if they don't reboot, then the future movies, you have people of Haddonfield saying Michael's not human. He's like 70 years old and he's still going around killing people. And it just adds to the whole thing that he really is not a mortal man. That's one way. So Michael survives, he kills everybody else, and seemingly then the story is just never going to end, because if these women, with all their hate and all the years behind them, if they can't kill him, I don't know who does at this point, right?
Right.
Loomis gave it a whirl. He's out of the picture. If nobody else then I don't know how you feel like this series would ever really end. It would just be Michael killing forever.
Yeah. And how many people have played the Shape? I mean,
a few.
Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't matter how old Michael Myers is, because you can have, if he's supernatural, you can have new actors playing the Shape. And the age doesn't even have to be a factor.
Well, the point wasn't the actors. The point was the story itself.
No, I know. But
yeah, if he's supernatural, it doesn't matter. But I think what people are saying, we've talked about this in the comments quite a bit. I think what people are saying is it still is stupid, even if he's supernatural, to have a 65, then 70, then 75-year-old Michael just out. I don't particularly think so. I mean, didn't they do a film a little while ago about an old man who was a killer? Didn't we see something like this? It was like a blind guy and he was an older guy, and I don't know. I don't have a problem with that. I'm familiar with people in their 70s who are big, muscular, tough people that work out. So I don't, not that Michael works out, but I don't see old as a problem, especially if you're supernatural. All right, so let's try a second possibility now. If Michael is not the last man standing, then how about Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie, dies again, but Allison is left standing, and it's just her. And now we're not sure. Now it goes back to the and we don't know what maybe we're left on a note that maybe she's going to be the killer, maybe she's not. We don't know which way she's going to lean.
Or maybe she just follows in her grandmother's footsteps and leads a life of paranoia, and creates her home into a fortress and all of that.
Yeah, we could just go through all those beats again. Yeah.
2 generations later, it's still going on.
That's a possibility. A couple people have said in the comments that she can't carry a franchise. I don't know that that's fair. Like,
yeah, I don't see why not.
We won't know until we see Halloween Ends. You can't right now. She's been relegated to a side character, but if in Halloween Ends she becomes one of 2 main characters up until the end, then I think you'll want her story to go on. I was like, I'll compare this to the Dark Knight trilogy for a second. By the way, spoilers for Dark Knight if you didn't see it. In the end, when Detective Blake becomes the new Batman, and people were saying like, well, I wouldn't want to see a movie with him. Well, okay, but then when a movie comes out, like once you see the trailers and you harken back to where that left off, I think you could be on board pretty easily. It takes 2 seconds to build intrigue for a new film. It's not something you need a whole lot of time for. I mean, if you had said in the first 20 minutes of the first Halloween that Jamie Lee Curtis was going to be, the big anchor for this for the next 50 years, anybody would have said you were a dumb motherfucker. Right?
Yeah, who would have thunk it?
Nobody, of course not. It's just things happen slowly, and then before you know it, bam, you've got a celebrity leading a franchise. So I think it's irresponsible to say that Allison can't carry the franchise. We don't know who she is yet. We're still getting her story. So I don't think that's a nutty thing at all. Now, what about the third possibility? What about if Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode is the last one standing?
Yeah.
Allison dies too, and it's just her, and Michael's dead.
Oh.
Then what do we do with that?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's the darkest ending ever then, and she actually takes her own life at the end.
Oh, wow.
That's what I think. I really do.
Super dark. You're going super dark with that one.
It's because I don't know what else to think. They're saying that they're going to do, that it's going to be like a shocker.
That would
what
be
else
the
is
end.
shocking? I don't know what else is. You know what would be shocking? You want to talk about shocking? In the final moments of Halloween Ends, Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, and Allison both have knives. They come right up to Michael. They're just about to both double stab him right in the fucking chest. All of a sudden, he takes off his mask and he says, "Ladies, let's get pizza. I'm sorry." That'd be a shocker ending. I don't know how I'd feel about that. Maybe that's what they're going to do then, because that would, I would be scratching my head.
Yeah, yeah.
If that's what we've built up to after 4 films.
Yes. And, I mean, decades of films at this point.
Right. And then can you imagine if they throw the franchise away? He's like, "I've been a total ass."
Yeah.
He lights up a cigarette. He's like, "You know what it is? I never got enough love as a child. That was the problem." And they're like, "Well, you were killing people at a very young age, Michael." That's true. That's true. Anyway, let's go. Let's hit a club. Let's get some fresh air here. That'd be something. Yeah, I can't think of any other real ending that would be so shocking. So maybe it's horseshit. Maybe it's one of those things where they all just say that and they just want to get you to go to the movie because you're curious.
Yeah,
and then in the end, right? Because movies have done this before. They're like, "Wait till you see the shocking end," and I'm like, I see the end, and I go, "Yeah, that's kind of what we all."
Nothing.
A big fucking deal. You know who actually stormed out with Halloween Kills was one of our audience members, one of the subscribers. She was pissed because in the final moment when Karen dies, this girl got up and stormed out of the theater.
Yeah.
And I thought that was I thought that was funny because
a bit much.
I thought it was just funny because you knew Karen was going to die, right? I mean, if not in Halloween Kills, she's got to die early in Halloween Ends. Mm-hmm. Either way, she had you're storming out over literally, I don't know, 15, 20 more minutes of screen time. If that, it's hard. I mean, she's got to go at some point soon. Essentially, everybody does. So I thought that was funny, but I get it. I get when you love a character so much, especially with Karen, because Karen went from being so like unlikable in the 2018 film, right?
Yeah.
Not the whole film, but most of the film, because she was the naysayer, and then in the end, she stabbed Michael while he was on the ground. Remember that?
Yes.
I love that when she took the time to, instead of going to take care of her young daughter who was bleeding in the Michael Myers house, she instead took a knife and took a few seconds to come down and stab Michael on the ground. Yeah. So I get it. You don't want to see Karen get killed after that, but anyway, I love it. I love wild behavior over Halloween. Guys, listen, comment with your own thoughts. What would it take to make you actually get up and storm out of the fucking movie? What kind of ending would piss you off? If you could, like, subscribe, click the bell, do all that shit so you get more Halloween Ends videos from us. We have a million more to come, don't we, Voice of Reason?
We do.
All right, guys, we'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks so much for the support.